I don't know if this one would even classify as paranormal, at least in the spooks and cryptids way, but it's the only creepy life story I have. Employed as a receptionist for my town's local pharmacy/wellness center. Basically, a place for people to diagnose for things like ADHD and bipolar. I work the early morning shift, 5 a.m. to 10 a.m., because I live pretty close. Spend most of my time taking calls, leaving voice messages, and doing paperwork. Eventually, I have nothing more to do in terms of work. Decide to head back to the break room. There's a tiny little TV mounted on the wall. No place to sit, and it only gets the news and some fitness channel. Put some water on to boil to make some tea. Lean against the wall and watch the news. I'm not alone in the building. The janitor had gone upstairs a few minutes before I went into the break room, and a resident kid psychiatrist was in his office on the first floor. Hear this bell that's near the front door ring. Meant to let the receptionist know that someone's entered, even if they aren't at the front desk. Go to head back to the front desk. Down the hall, there's this door that connects the waiting room and the hallway that leads to all of the offices. Takes either a key or a punch combination to enter. Watch the doorknob rattle violently, like someone's trying desperately to get in. Walk in from another door behind the front desk. There's this gaunt, pale old man trying for the life of him to get the door open, constantly twisting and tugging at the doorknob. He looks at me and pauses. Now, quick little detail. I'm a guy, but I have decently long hair, and I shave my face regularly. And if you squint, I do kind of look like a woman, at least my face. He seems mystified. Claire? Claire. He coos out to me. Sir, I'm not Claire. I need you to sit down. If you have an appointment, you'll have to wait for the doctor to call you in, okay? He looks at me with his sad, sullen eyes. Claire. He miserably shuffles to the front door, turning one last time and giving me another sad look. Don't leave me. Watch through the windows as he shambles away and vanishes. No idea if the guy was just demented or something. I know it's not much, but yeah, it's the scariest thing I encountered. I don't know if this makes a good green text or not, but here's my experience. Fall 2016. Grandpa dies at 86. Fast forward a couple weeks. Dad calls me at Mom's and says he thinks Grandpa is still here. Says he's been hearing weird shit. I think he's just grieving because he's now alone in the same house where both my grandparents lived. Next time I visit him, he sounds believable, not distraught, not freaking out at every random noise. Fast forward a day or so, we're watching television in the living room. Dog on pet bed to our right, and stairs to front door parallel behind us. The fucking stairs start creaking like when they're walked on. What.jpg? Nothing ambiguous about it, heard many times. Dad gives me a, I know you hear that, type of look. The dog gets up and goes to the top of the stairs, ears perked. Starts looking and wooing at us in confusion when nobody's there. He was a talky dog. Dad says the dog never heard it before. We decide the dog is our control and neither of us are crazy. Good idea. We raise Grandpa's stair chair from the bottom to top of the stairs. We leave a glass of milk by Grandpa's armchair, like he always asked for. Put his favorite show, General Hospital, on. Me and Dad and the dog never heard anything again. Hiking guide Anon here. I've got another story to share I think you guys would be interested in. I'll actually go with green text for this one because it's a little shorter. Guiding a small family, husband, wife, and their 6-year-old daughter through the woods. Pleasant part of the trail. I've guided a lot of beginner hikers along it. Kid keeps asking me all sorts of stuff about animals. She really likes birds. Mom eggs her on, so I'm telling her all about all of the local bird species. Particularly the great horned owl, which seems to be her favorite. Notice that a tree near the path has fallen down. It's not blocking the path, but very clearly a nest that was on the branches has fallen into the path. Notice it might actually be an owl nest, and point it out. Normally I wouldn't get this involved with wildlife, but I figured I would be nice to the kid. Crouched down to look at the nest. I'm not shitting you when I say that in the nest was a bed of tiny skulls. Couldn't identify most of them. Not that big into vulture culture shit. By size, I'd reckon the skulls were a mix of rats, mice, squirrels, and possums. Notice there's quite a big skull in the nest too. For a while, I didn't know what kind it was, but after talking with a few hunter friends, I think it might have been a fox or raccoon skull. First time seeing anything like this. gasp a little, and quickly compose myself. Don't want to traumatize this kid. Tell them it wasn't an owl's nest, and push it aside. We keep walking. Don't think she saw it. When we're going back, the nest is completely gone. Probably got taken by someone else on the trail because we passed a few others on the hike. Weird shit that happened to you as a child. Be me. Live in suburbia, Tennessee if you're wondering. The age where you can't tell if memories were dreams or actually happened. Couldn't have been more than 5 years old. Everything has this ethereal, dreamlike quality. Remember this as snapshots of feelings and emotions, so sorry about any vagueness. Don't remember who any of the other kids were. Have this ability to find rooms in people's houses that shouldn't be there. We would go off exploring some empty part of the house away from everyone else. Basement, upstairs bathroom, closet, something like that. I only specifically remember finding them in a closet and this weird attic cupboard thing. There'd be a door somewhere in the room, which I remember being totally normal looking, but instinctively, I knew it wasn't supposed to be there. On the other side were rooms, I think like 2 or 3 usually. There would be rooms you would normally find in people's houses. Except sometimes, there would be something wrong or off about them. It might have been every time, but I just didn't understand as a child. Or none of the time. I remember a room with a pool table, low lights, and green painted walls. A massive house floor-sized living room, with a really low ceiling with an overly large, sprawling couch. What was presumably a kitchen where none of the cupboards would open. Like they were all just protrusions or indentations from the counters. The thing I remember most, relatively speaking that is, was a shower where all the walls were carpet. Shaggy brown carpet. This is actually what triggered me to remember all of this and make this post. I took a candy bar back from somewhere in one of those rooms once. The packaging looked Asian, as best as my child brain could equate it. I saved it and actually think I still have it somewhere. My last memory was the one and only time I went into the rooms alone. I was probably bored waiting for my parents at the houses of one of their friends with no kids. I remember there being a lot of rooms, way more than normal. The last one had dark red walls, and there was something framed on the wall facing the door. Sorry if this is anticlimactic, but I don't remember what it was. Leave. Never go back to the rooms again. This is a dream I had recently, and despite being a dream, it has had a very real effect on me. I've been disillusioned with my life and family lately, sort of stressed to the point of breaking. You don't know you're dreaming initially a lot of times, and I find myself in a small town. Cluster of buildings, similar to like Scandinavian buildings, like in a Christmas town of some sort, but it's not snowing. Big party going on, tons of people packed in this courtyard between the buildings, having a lot of fun, talking with people, drinking and socializing. I get into a fight with a guy and quite literally punch a hole through him and seemingly obliterate him. Weird.jpg. Try to leave, but every time I leave, somebody kind of forcefully ushers me back to the party. Keep partying, having fun. Women seem interested in me. Again, try to leave, but these people keep ushering me back to the party. All doors lead back to the party. One of the partygoers gestures me to follow them up these stairs to a wall that has all of these colorful trinkets on it. I pick up a small green box, and with this green box, I can fly, I can teleport, I can walk through halls, and I can control people. Kinda cool, I guess. Never had a lucid dream where I had powers, or could actually fly with any sort of control. Several days and nights have gone by at this point, and I am exhausted and want to leave. But anytime I try to leave, people usher me back. Even with powers, I cannot escape. Frustrated, tired, and missing my family, I ask one of these people who keep taking me back, what exactly is going on, and who are they? They say they are the Marathons, and their only job is to keep me here. Not really sure where here is, but it occurs to me that I am actually in my dreams, and despite my best efforts, I can't wake up. Again, several days and nights have gone by, and I can no longer stand it. I used the green box to get a few women to desire me sexually. I never touch these women, but they are magnetically drawn to me, as if they are under a spell. My goal is to get one to allow me to leave, because she cannot turn me down. It doesn't work. They do not let me leave. And while they are magnetically drawn to me, they seem bothered by the fact that they are not in control, each mumbling something to the effect of, "Oh no, it's happening again. As if they are often assaulted by people who do this. Because I am married and love my wife, and I'm faithful. I ask one of the people to take me to the leader, or whoever is in control of this place. They bring me to a black lady, similar to one in the Matrix that Neo meets. I ask her who she is and what's going on. She says that she is the Prime Marathon, and that I am here because I asked for it. I have felt stressed lately, but didn't realize I asked for a 24/7 party where I am all powerful and women desire me. She holds out her two hands and says I have two choices: to stay here forever and enjoy the things I asked for, and in her left hand is a yin and yang, and she says, or I could choose death, the return to balance. I do not want to die, so I reluctantly continue to mingle around, trying to escape by flying and teleporting and whatnot. But again, no matter where I go, all doors lead back to the party, and these marathons usher me back. I can no longer take it. I want out. I am exhausted and now in a deep sadness. I find the Prime Marathon and tell her I choose death, but I ask her if she can do me one favor before I die. Please make sure my wife and kids are taken care of and happy when I'm gone. They are what I truly care about. She says something like, yeah, I could do that. And she snaps her fingers. Immediately wake up. Again, just a dream, but the terrible feeling of dread was real. Be careful what you wish for. Pretty sure this was a fever dream. Be me, 6, laying in comfy bed, Thursday. Had a small flu, so got out of school early, and enjoyed watching Nat Geo while eating McDonald's. Last thing I see is an episode about domestication and cattle, and what they were like before. Distinctly remember a shot where a big woolly sheep is glancing around and then stares directly at the camera. Pass out. Wake up hours later. Pitch black. Distinct scent of sweat and overall unpleasant humidity. I'm sweating like a pig. The covers have become super tight and uncomfortably hot. Figure the power went out. This is Florida, and storms sometimes roll in and out quickly with the power. TV turns on by itself. Goes to scenes of lambs and sheep. Except it's in fast forward. Due to lighting and sheer nervousness, the TV dims out everything else in the room. Essentially, only thing I can see is what's on the TV. Lamb and sheep running fast and doing weird shit like contorting and screaming. No sound except droning static. Try to move, only barely. Blankets are soaking wet and tight on my body. Try to scream for my dog, sisters, mom, or dad. Can't seem to breathe enough air. TV pauses on screenshot of sheep looking to the side. Ah, shit. It turns to face the camera. Its face begins to retract. Eyes start bulging with its whites emerging from its sockets, and black pupils fixed on me. It opens its mouth and lets out a mixture of guttural screaming and sheep's loud baws. I scream as it gets louder and louder. When I scream, the TV turns off, but the sound is still there. My eyes start adjusting to the new dark. Notice at the doorway, tall figure with goat horns staring at me. See it slink into the room. Hooves, sadder legs, horned head. I cry as it approaches the bed. Shut my eyes. Feel it lean down next to me. Feel warm tongue on my cheek, licking several times. Finally snap and try to push it away. Wake up, having put my hands on the dog, who was licking my sweat and trying to calm me down and lay with me. Room is normal. Lights are on. Episode has moved on. Only about an hour of time had passed. Think nothing of it. Move on. I'm also pretty sure I got spooked by that one animation of the sheep jumping and transforming around by that one Photoshop artist. But I can't remember if that was released on YouTube by that time, or if that was way later. That still shot of the sheep is firmly placed in my brain, and I dread the day I rediscover it. Woolly sheep, green field, is staring off to the left chewing on grass, before slowly turning to face and stare at the camera, stopping from eating as it just looks at you. Doubt this one's going to be believable to a lot of you Anons, but might as well tell it. Live on the outskirts of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Moved here because 1, it's beautiful around here, 2, Mothman, and 3, there was an open journo job. Working late at night, living in a rental home. Office has this huge window behind the desk, with a gorgeous view of the night sky and some sparse forest. Get up to grab a drink while I'm writing some article about local businesses, and other boring shit that no one cares about. When I get back, I get this distinct feeling that something's wrong. I have the curtains on the window partially shut. I can't see anything at this point, and I chalk it up to being late at night and dark. Keep writing, ignoring it for a time. Notice I keep hearing this weird, hoarse breathing sound. For a while, I think it's from my computer. Start clicking around to see if I have anything open that's causing the audio. Mute my PC. Keeps happening. Spooked. Unplug speakers. Keeps happening. Feel a pit form in my stomach as the obvious finally hits me. Look up at the window. Squint. Turn on my desk lamp. Can barely see this woodsman-looking motherfucker with a scraggly beard and all camo pressed up against my window. Just staring at me, completely neutral, no expression. Stare him in the eyes as he slowly backs off, not breaking eye contact. Always keep the curtains shut now. Be me, in about 2016. 22 years old. Friend invites me to snowmobile all weekend in northern Wisconsin. He has a cabin in the middle of nowhere. Have fun the first day. Out in the woods on a trail when my snowmobile stops. Ran out of gas like an idiot. Friend says he'll go get some and come back. Have to sit alone in the woods for about 45 minutes. No cell reception. Dark as shit. Nothing to do but stargaze. See a weird light. It's dancing. One light turns into 3. They're doing a weird pattern with figure 8s and shit. Take out phone to try and record it. All of a sudden, they stop in place for about 15 seconds. Zoom out of view. Buddy comes back. Did you see those weird lights? I didn't see anything, Anon. Might have been aliens. They were dancing for like 5 minutes straight. I just watched them for a bit before even thinking that maybe I should try to record it. Didn't feel scared or anything. Was just weird. If you're expecting a story containing skinwalkers or some other weird paranormal entity anally obliterating me, then I will have to disappoint. I have told this story only once, and still nobody believed me. Be me, 5 to 6 years ago. Start looking in X because I had a passing interest in orbs, and a thread was one of the first results on Google. Always believed to some degree that the world had a covert paranormal nature, and it was not just what people accepted as. The stories people say here range from plausible to absolutely ridiculous. I'm hooked. 3 to 4 months pass by, lurking on X daily, reading through anything I see, and searching for relevant sources to stuff I find interest in. Sometimes I catch glimpses of shadows on the corner of my eyes when it's nighttime. It is like something dark is moving but always out of reach of my eyes. Ha, I must be really sleepy. After some time, when I get on the bed to sleep, I can feel that something is there in the room with me. Too afraid to actually open my eyes to check. If I ever find the courage to do so, don't see anything, but I still feel that something is close to me. I am beyond shit my pants scared with the whole situation. Happens more and more often. It's Christmas holidays. Go to my parents' home because college is closed for the period, and I wanted to see friends from my hometown. I share a room with my brother, and I didn't have any problems at all before sleeping. Maybe I was just being crazy. Go out with friends, but friend A had some work to do, so couldn't come. Holidays were close to ending. We haven't met in a long time, so A invites me to his home so that we can talk freely and catch up. A lives on the more secluded parts of the town, high up on a hill. I may say town, but it is actually more of a big village. We have lots of nature around, and you can go anywhere you want on foot. Meet with A. He made some honeyed wine because why the fuck not? I tell him some of the things I read here while we talk. He also had an interest in the occult, so we talk for a long time. At this point, I haven't said a word of what was happening at night while living alone, because I thought people will probably just dismiss it as paranoia. It is nighttime, and I also didn't want to overstay my welcome, so I leave. As I walk the road that goes down the hill on foot, I can feel something is following me. I can feel it approaching bit by bit, so I move a little bit faster, while also looking behind me every now and then to check if there is actually something there. Don't see anything, but I'm not going to risk it. I don't want to sound crazy, but I know I will, so fuck it. You can choose on your own whether to believe me or not. Feel a hand reaching out to me from the back, grabbing me by the shoulder and turning me around. See absolutely nothing. That hand, or whatever you want to call it, felt like the most cold and uncomfortable thing I ever felt. I am stuck frozen there for close to 1 minute. Felt like an hour though. I just walked towards home, completely broken. Didn't feel no fear no cold, nothing at all. I was just completely broken. It is time to go back to college, so parents take me to the station. As I leave home, I drop a charm that was given to me by my grandma. It's pick related. Only find out about it after I boarded the bus. Be sad because I really love my grandma, and I really appreciated the charm. Always took it with me when I was going out. After going to college again, I don't see any shadows. I don't feel anything in my room before sleeping. It was like nothing ever happened. Spring break comes. Go back to parents' home. Find the charm on the pavement outside the main gate of the house. My face went, nobody saw it or picked it up from the ground for so long, even though my house is in a central spot and many people pass by daily.